Please take your seats. Thank you very much. Okwayemi Alabaster there, the beautiful rendition of the national anthem. And I can see that the audience is being very, very obedient, not clapping, not making any sound. But of course, you had the opportunity to clap for Okwayemi Alabaster, but that's all right. Thank you very much. Okay. It's about to start. The four gentlemen are seated. All right, let me go quickly into the rules of engagement. Earlier, before you gentlemen joined us, I let the audience know exactly what we expect of them and how to ensure and maintain decorum in the course of this debate. This next rules will be for you gentlemen. Now, the rules of engagement are simple. The debate will run for 1 hour, split in 2 sessions. The first session will be for the candidates to tell us who they are. Would like to hear from you exactly who you are from, like they say, from the horse's mouth. And the plans that you have for the good people of Ekiti State. I will give you 2 minutes to do that. So you're going to try as much as possible to put your thoughts together so that in 2 minutes you're able to tell us who you are and what you have to offer the people of Ekiti State. Now thereafter, the candidates will have 3 minutes to answer each question. Of course, we have questions for you tonight. And towards the end of each session, there will be a mini segment for rebuttals. You do have the opportunity to object or say what your stance is concerning what any other candidate says. And you have 2 minutes to do that. Of course, you'll be answering questions in these 4 areas. For Nigeria, there are four basic areas that are of importance to Nigerians, and it has to do with security, education, healthcare, and of course, job creation. I'm sure you gentlemen are aware of that. Okay, let's kick off with the opening statements. We'll start with the candidate of the Alliance for Democracy, Agbola Olani. You have 2 minutes to tell us who you are and what you have for the people of Ekiti State.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Agbola Olani of Alliance for Democracy. Let me use this opportunity to let the whole world know that I am still in the race and there is no coalition or alliance anywhere. What do I have for the state? Basically, in the course of the interactive session, you'll be hearing me discussing agriculture, you'll be hearing me trying to show you that Ekiti State we need to open up the economy of the state as a emerging market, if not in sub-Saharan Africa, but in Africa. We'll be talking about culture, we'll be talking about education, we'll be talking about ICT development, we'll be talking about security, we'll also be talking about employment. Basically, you may want to know my background. I have ND, HND, and MBA. My experience all the time, where I served, I was retained. I worked with marketing, communication, and advertising agencies for about 5 years. I moved to Nigerian Breweries, PLC, moved on to Globalcom for about 6 months, traveled abroad, worked in Asda, Walmart in US, Asda in UK, and I came back, worked with Coca-Cola in Nigeria, and also worked with Global. I have presented myself to you as a candidate for the election coming up on Saturday, July 14, 2018. Thank you.
Thank you very much for keeping to time. All right, moving on now. The next person we want to hear from is Mr. Tunde Afe, Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party, ANRP.
My name is Tunde Afe. I'm a pastor, I'm a businessman, I'm a farmer. I was born in Ekiti, a native of Ekiti, the political government. And I attended St. Paul's Primary School, Catholic Primary School in Ekiti. I attended Technical Secondary School, also in Ekiti. I finished my secondary education at Ekiti High School, also in Ekiti. Thereafter, I proceeded to the Polytechnic for an MD in accounting, after which I went to the University of Florida. I got a BSc in economics. I worked in Lagos with Government Airlines, Intel Oil Services Company, United Fast Service, before I relocated to the States about 18 years ago to start that I pastor a church. I am a farmer. My farm in Ekiti State is 1,000 hectares. I have 250 hectares dedicated to cassava. I have about 12 hectares for yam, some hectares for rice, and then some hectares for maize. And if you're talking about, if you want to take the first 10 farmers, mechanized farmers in Ekiti, I'm among them. And then I also do leadership training. I run a consulting firm, Motion Zone Company. I also run a business school. I've done that now for 10 years. I'm also the presenter of a popular radio program, Seeds of Greatness, which airs in Ekiti State and on those states. And I've done that for 15 years now, consistently. And
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tunde Afe. Your time is up. All right, to Mr. Temitope Adebayo of the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance, APDA, would like to hear from you. Tell us who you are and what you have to offer the people of Ekiti State.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am a legal practitioner. I'm based in Lagos. I had my primary, secondary, and university education in Ekiti State. I finished in the year 1999-2000. While I was in the school, I was the student union president, and I graduated as the first student union president to top his class. I left that place for Unilag for my master's, and I had the best result. And I attended Harvard University for a leadership course last year to be able to at least better tool myself for the task ahead. The program I have for Ekiti State is very elaborate and very practical. I've understudied the state, and I know that our major problem is that the private sector. The government revenue as against private sector revenue today is 95 to 5%. And with 95% revenue coming from government and with only 5% contribution of private sector, the economy can never progress. So what we want to do is to change the paradigm and reorder the priorities of government to ensure that we galvanize our people towards embracing private sector participation in the economy so that that revenue can grow from the present 5 to 95 to about 50-50 at least before we leave in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks for keeping to time. All right, the last but definitely not the least is Mr. Tosin Ajibare of Independent Democrats, ID. Tell us who you are and what you have to offer the people of Ekiti State.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Tosin Emmanuel Ajibare. I'm the face of Ekiti Youth and the youngest governorship candidate in Ekiti. I hold a degree in Business Administration and Management Science, and I'm a social entrepreneur in the field of consumer finance. I'm a man on a mission for Ekiti, and I was given a mandate to do 4 things. Number 1 is to liberate Ekiti from parasitic leaders. Number 2 is to usher in a new generation of leaders that fear God, respect the people, and love the motherland. Number 3 is to run a government where the lost hope of the younger generation is restored and the fear of the older generation is erased. And the last but not the least is to create wealth and development through massive investment in the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was very, very straight to the point, cutting to the chase. You've heard from the 4 gentlemen who are vying for the governorship position of Ekiti State come July the 14th. Of course, it will depend at the end of the day on you, the Ekiti people, to decide exactly who has gained your confidence, and that will be at the end of this debate. For now, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will get into the questions proper. Welcome back. This is Ekiti Debate 2018. The gentlemen have taken their seats already. They have told us who they are and exactly what they have to offer the people of Ekiti State if they do get the opportunity to become governor for the next 4 years. All right, let's begin the questions right away. Like I pointed out earlier, the core areas, the 4 core areas that we'll be looking at today are security. Security, of course, education, jobs, and what else is of importance to the people of Ekiti other than an improvement in their lives. Let me begin with Mr. Agbola Olani of the Alliance for Democracy. And the question has to do with education. Now, Ekiti is very well known for intellectual capacity, a whole lot of great people, scholarly people, ambassadors of education. But the great paradox is that this has not really reflected in both the quality of leadership and the quality in terms of the dividends of democracy for the people of Ekiti State. What do you have to say to that in 3 minutes?
Thank you very much. That's a good one. Let me start here by saying that there is nothing wrong with Ekiti. The only missing gap, the missing link in there is the leadership, which has correctly been identified. Quickly, we're going to be a little more qualitative and quantitative in my analysis. Let me take you into a situation. I went into the website of Ekiti state government, and what I found there was a bit surprising. 541 primary school, because if you want to do a job, you must show that you are ready, and 141 secondary school, public. Private, 78 primary schools and 14 secondary schools. If you find the percentage of secondary school to primary school, public, you will find that that's just 26%. If you find the ratio, it's about 4 primary school to 1. Now, at inception, secondary school has A, B, C as classes. Primary school also have A, B, C as classes. Now, the maximum intake of a secondary school is about 200. Maximum intake. And the maximum output of that of the primary school is about 350. So it then means that 0.5 or of a number would not be able to find a place in the secondary school. And what have we done? We have the leadership, the current and those who are doing it, have consciously created a loophole, a class of illiteracy, class of bunch of those who are being limited in life to further. What are we going to do? We will have to employ quality teachers. And how am I going to solve that with my government? We have dropped profile registered in all the local government areas of the party. All you need to do is to go in there, register your name, register your qualification, what you're doing now, and what you intend to do. So that will enable us to profile you according to your core competencies and your performance. And in that, you will have people in the right place. Not in a situation of having a square peg in a round hole. And so what are we going to do? We will go for those who are taught in the areas of methodology, of teaching, and that is exactly what we'll do. We'll lay emphasis on the graduate of the College of Education, basically, and those of Faculty of Education at Ekiti State University. And I also found out, in the time past, Ekiti State, as brilliant as we are judged to be, we were between the position of 24 and 32 in the time past. Yes, the new government came, tried to change the paradigm. But it could have been better for us to be where we were than this new system. We will eliminate what is called the miracle centers, where things are done unprofessionally, and we will know that, yes, what we produce, it's the basic of the quality of what we want. We will not, in this area, major in minor. We will train the teachers, those who are there, and the quality, and there will be something that is called Quality Assurance Department. They will be live to their responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agbola Olani of the Alliance for Democracy. Next is Mr. Tunde Afe. The question is, how do you plan to change the narrative when it comes to this paradox of a state like Ekiti State that has quality educated people? As a matter of fact, I know that a number of you candidates here tonight and the next session are professors, doctors, top people who have gone to the best schools in the world. How do you plan to change it in such a way that it will reflect in the lives of Ekiti people when it comes to the dividends of democracy as far as education is concerned?
Thank you very much. Well, what we have done, what our party has done in that regard is that in the build-up to our campaigns, we try to look at the problem. And the problem, like you rightly said, is that of Ekiti is highly educated, but there is no correlation between the level of education and then the development that you find on the streets, the kind of development that you find among the people. As a matter of fact, Ekiti has been rated as the 4th poorest state in the country. And honestly, if you look at the level of education, it should have improved a lot of the people. So what are we going to do? We are going to ensure that we have qualitative education. We are going to ensure that the teachers that train the people are trained. You know, you cannot give what you don't have. When we're growing up, you discover that those who taught us in school were those who really wanted to be teachers. But what do you have now? You have people who couldn't find jobs in maybe in the companies, and in the only place they can find job is in the schools. So they come they don't have the passion to train the children, they don't have the passion to teach the children, they are just there, So we are going to ensure that the people that we bring in to teach the children are those who really have passion to train and to teach. And then, remember, the time I said I attended a technical secondary school, we are going to bring that back. So that, for example, it's not everybody that is supposed to go to the university. If you know that going to secondary school, you can learn 1 or 2 trades, you can stop there. There were my classmates in secondary school who learned 1 or 2 trades in school, and that was where they stopped. And today, they are doing very well. So we're going to ensure that technical education comes back so that there will be quality. Those people that are trained are useful to society. And then we're going to ensure that our university, the researches are funded. It's very rare for you to find any Nigerian university where government funds researches. And we have a state-owned university where we are going to make sure that researches are funded. There's no reason why the Department of Electrical Engineering in university, for example, is not useful in the provision of renewable energy for the state. So we're going to ensure that we fund researches at university, and then we're going to ensure that those who actually train the children are well trained. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, I almost was going to defy my own rules here, but I will not do that. Okay, next is Mr. Temitope Adebayo, the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance, APDA. I believe you understood the question, the paradox of a state that has a lot of educated people, and yet it has not reflected in the lives of the people as far as the dividends of democracy is concerned.
Yeah, thank you. The way I actually put it is that Ekiti is a fountain of knowledge. And we all know that knowledge is power. And you need power to get wealth. The moment your power is not giving you wealth, then there's a mismatch somewhere. And we have gone ahead to find out why our knowledge power is not producing wealth, because we shouldn't be among the poorest states in Nigeria with the fountain of knowledge that we have. Now, why is it that we are not knowledgeable? Sorry, we are not. Why is it that we are rated as poor in the state? The reason is that we have left the type of education that can actually galvanize the economy, that can ensure that private sector grow as the engine of the economy. And when Awolowo was still governing the Western state, he established technical schools across. The technical school established by UPN in those days, 5 in Ekiti State, 1 in Ado Ekiti, 1 in Igbaraudo, and 3 other places, Ijero, Ikole, and Otun. They are still the only technical school we have today, and students that are there are only 5% of the capacity of the school. And so a school that can accommodate about 300 students have only like 20, 15 students in them. And because of that, artisans that are supposed to be working in private sectors are not available. So when an Ekiti man from Lagos or anywhere wants to build a house at home, it brings people from Lagos. And so the capital that is supposed to be invested in our economy fly to other cities like Lagos, Ibadan, and even Cotonou. So we are going to address that. We are going to revive our technical education, and we are going to reorder the focus of our young men to the kind of education that can make them entrepreneurs. And we are also going to establish what I call mentorship program that will enable those that have participated in what we are talking about to come and discuss with our students how their life can be transformed by concentrating on education that can really earn them the kind of living that will lift the state up. And so when we do this, we will indirectly increase the revenue of government, because the moment you reorder the focus of people to what can increase their own revenue, their earning power, you will invariably also improve the revenue of the government. Even those artisans that are presently working in Ekiti, we are going to work towards retraining them so that they earn better than they are earning now, so that they are able to command resources from people that actually have the resources that can help our economy. Thank you.
All right, thank you very, very much, Mr. Temitope Adebayo of the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance. Now over to you, Mr. Tosin Ajibare of Independent Democrats. How do you plan to change this unfortunate paradox, this sad paradox of, like when they say so much water yet nothing to drink? A lot of educated people in Ekiti State, but no dividends of democracy yet as far as education is concerned.
Thank you, Ma. I believe it all boils down to leadership. It does not matter what you really have. What matters is what are you doing with what you have. When we talk about Ekiti being a fountain of knowledge, when we say we have a lot of graduates, now what are the graduates doing? What are the educated doing? Now we have this lots of human resources that are not being tapped, which is why we are still poor. And I believe that if we are going to move forward and we are going to change those rhetoric, we are going to change this particular situation, then definitely we don't have just to be educated, we have to tap into our knowledge base. Like I was discussing earlier with someone today, we are so blessed and sad. We are so rich. From our own side, you said, what are we going to do about that? We've been telling the people that based on our mission, we have just one agenda, which is human capital development. I believe that until we can actually move our people from just from having this knowledge base to using this knowledge base, that's where we are going to progress as a people. That's when we are going to progress as a state. So, one thing I believe very well, and that's why I said it's all about leadership. The past leadership we've been having, what have they been putting in place to actually tap into this wealth of knowledge? We have a state that was created since 1999, and up to date, there is no singular industry. And we have governments that are building prisons, governments that are building high courts. What are they doing? We have a lot of these intelligent folks. Let us tap into them. From our own side, I can assure you that what we are looking at to develop this state is through that human development, human capital development. We know we have those people. We know they have this knowledge base. Then what do they need to actually apply this knowledge base? So, across all our sectors, be it agriculture, be it industrialization, be it health, we're actually putting the people first. We are saying, let us develop this state, and those that are going to develop it are still going to be the people. Now, thank God, because we have them, they have the knowledge base. Now, let us give them what they need so that they can function. I believe by the time we have a leadership that can provide the people with what they need to function, I believe our state is going to move forward. And I promise that is what we're going to do as a government.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tosin Ajibare there of Independent Democrats. You have an extra 2 minutes, all of you gentlemen, to actually do a rebuttal or maybe an addition to what you have said. But let me quickly throw in a question. Yes, you all seem to be on the same page as far as what to do to change the narrative for education in the state if you do become governor. But you have not said something, and it has to do with the budget. How would you fund education, really? At the federal level, education still does not get anything that should be, able to turn around the narrative as far as education is concerned in Nigeria. 1 minute each, please. Let me start with you, Mr. Olani.
Thank you very much. In my opening address, I refer to my beautiful state as the emerging market for the federating unit of Nigeria, one of the federating units of Nigeria. What am I going to do? I'm going to open up the economy of this state. And basically, I'm going to tap into the resources that are available. Good enough, we were told that our economy has, in the state, we have mineral resources as columbite, as gold, as granite. We would first of all look into that direction and make sure that we tap into the opportunity as per mineral resources, and there is a plan in place that we will be bringing in some experts in that regard to open up our economy. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. The how of what to do. Mr. Tunde Afe, you have 3 minutes, actually, gentlemen, to tell us exactly how, as far as the question that I asked, the issue of budget. At the federal level, education budget is a measly 5% of the national budget. So tell us exactly how you're going to fund this grandiose plans that you have for education for Ekiti.
The plan that we have for education, not just the plan that we have for education. What we have done in our party is to sit down and to look at the IGR of the state. You know, because what the state currently gets from federal allocation is not enough to fund all the plans that we have on ground. So what we have done is to look at all the natural resources that we have, and then to look at the ones that we can quickly begin to tap into, so that within the first 3 to 6 months of our government, we can move the IGR of the state from what it is presently, 400 million naira monthly, to at least 1.5 billion monthly. You know, if you have this addition of 1.1 billion monthly, you know, coming in for the government within the first 6 months, then we can use that to fund a lot of our programs. Now, how do we move the IGR from 400 million to 1.5 billion? It's very simple. Now, we are looking at the rice market. Now, the rice market in Nigeria is in excess of 350 billion naira annually. Now, the question is, how much of this is Ekiti State tapping into? Now, Lagos State currently is putting in place a rice mill that has the capacity to process 4,000 metric tons of rice per hour. Now, what we're going to do is that within the first 3 months, we are going to ensure that we have an agreement, an MOU with Lagos State, so that once we plant the rice paddy, we can sell to that company and then make money. Now, we have done our researches and we discovered that from that alone, we can generate at least 500 million naira from the sale of rice paddy to that company in Lagos. Now, if you put that aside, that is 500 million naira monthly from rice, then we are also going to create what we call aquatic village. What does this mean? Now, I'm a farmer. I also rear catfish. Not only catfish are we going to bring into this. We're also going to add crayfish, tilapia, and water view. Now, from these, we are also going to be able to generate 500 million. From cassava, 300 million. From yam, 200 million. By the time you add this up, you discover that we already have the 1.5 billion IGR, which we are going to use to fund some of these things. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tunde Afe. Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party, they're telling us how exactly he plans to fund education. Let me come to you, Mr. Temitope Adebayo of the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance. How do you plan to fund education? It's one thing to have great plans to, you know, it's another thing to articulate it. It's one more thing to be able to fund it.
Now, the first thing we're going to do, because before this contest started, we visited the state inland revenue to enable us access data. We want to know what we have on ground, but that information needed was not provided. Now, the first thing we're going to do is to introduce transparency into revenue generation in government. Because we have to be transparent, we need to know the number of people in the tax net of government, and then so that we can devise plan to increase that number of people and the amount generated. Now, our own program is not human capital development. Ours is strategic human capital development. Strategic because we want to train our people to do what they do better. For example, when a furniture maker make a set of a chair for 200,000, which is the highest you can get in Ekiti, I tell them there are furniture makers all over the world that make a set for about 5 million. They are not in the same category. The difference between those people and those of us in Ekiti are free. Number one, leadership. Number two, equipment and material available to them. Number three, knowledge, what they know. So we are going to make those available. We will increase budget for education. and we'll take our priority, because you have to reorder the priority of government. Now, when we do that, when we increase the budget and we introduce transparency, we ensure that nobody steals government money. There is no opportunity for money coming to government to be lost. Now, government make money through 3 channels. The state government don't mint money. Now, we make money through different channels. Number 1, what we have from federation account. Number 2, taxes that we collect from people. Number 3, maybe grant from donor agencies. So the one that we are really in control of fully is the taxes that we get from our people. And how do we ensure that that rises? We have to work on increasing the earning capacity of our people by bringing in people that will train those that already have skills, train them in a way that their skill can earn them better money. Because gone are the days when you say Ishe Logushe. Today, now, only Ishe Gidi Logushe. The one that give you only 500 naira per day is not going to end poverty. But what you do that give you real income is what will put an end to poverty. And that's what we will redirect our attention of our people to. The moment we do that, our income will increase. The agri sector that we have also been talking about also is going to contribute very seriously to the revenue of the government.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Adebayo. Now to you, Mr. Tosin Ajibare. Tell us in 3 minutes how exactly you plan to fund education if you become governor of Ekiti State.
Thank you. First of all, we are looking at education from another perspective. To us, we believe education is a tool towards fighting poverty and ignorance, not what applies today, whereby the government sees it as a source of IGR. So because we know the importance and because we know that functional education is going to help us solve a whole lot of problems, the first thing we're going to do is that we are actually giving a significant part of the budget to education. A minimum of 17%. Like I said earlier, we know the value. So we are going out all the way. Now, when you're saying, how do we intend to fund this? I'll put it across to you like this. Governments in Nigeria are not usually short of funding. The problem we have with governments in Nigeria are the issues of the excesses in government, and which is one of the first things we are going to cut off, the excesses in government. Like I said, through agriculture, through industrialization, and through all other means, we are going to improve our IGR. But one thing I found out is this. It is not just about the availability of the money. It's about the will of the government to actually do what it wants to do about education. Now, like I said earlier, we know the value of education. We are going to give it a very big part of our budget.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to be fair to you. I'll give you your extra 2 minutes. I know that you've been agitated, that I've been unfair to you, but I'll let you know I'm not going to be unfair in this debate. So you have your 2 minutes, Mr. Agbola Oladiyi.
Yes, thank you very much once again. The first thing to do to fund education, you will discover that even the little money that is available is being mismanaged. So what are we going to do? From inception, we look at cost of governance. The PA to PA to PA to PA of a PA. It should stop. Ajasin used 8 commissioners to achieve what has been on ground till date. Chief Obafemi Awolowo used less than 12 to achieve what has been in the whole Southwest. And so, Ondo and Ekiti combined together, we're now having ministries up to 30, 32. That will stop. We will have to look at the resources available, and so whatever we can save from there will fund education. That's one. A reasonable percentage of our earnings will also go into education, and we will fund it basically from agriculture. We're looking at agriculture very seriously, the cassava aspect of it, and that of whatever proceed is coming from there. A chunk of it, 0.5 of it will go to education, basic. And we'll look at the granite, the quarry business. It will interest you to know that a state in the southern part of this climb generates up to between 350 to 500 million naira on quarry alone, on granite. And it will also interest you to see that our people here go to Ondo State to go and look, Ondo State, or where not precisely, to bring green granite. That will stop. We have enough hills. If you remove the only hills in Ekiti State, the dual generation of diocese, you will discover that we have enough rock here to engage in granite business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agbola Olani of the Alliance for Democracy. All right, let's move on to another issue that is of paramount interest to Nigerians, and it has to do with security. The state of Nigeria's security right now is truly troubling, and I'm sure the people of Ekiti are as concerned as the rest of the country when it comes to security. One major issue right now is the herdsmen-farmers clashes that seems to be affecting everything about our lives, including, of course, agriculture, education, everything. So now, there is the open grazing prohibition law that some states have put in place as a way of checking the herdsmen-farmers clashes. But unfortunately, that doesn't seem to have worked much. Now, as it affects Ekiti State, what do you think in specific terms, in practical terms, you can do to end not only the herdsmen-farmers clashes, but of course every other security challenge that Nigeria faces, whether it's kidnapping, armed robbery, violence, and what have you, cultism included? What exactly do you plan to do? Let me start with you, Mr. Adebayo.
Well, first and foremost, I'm going to avoid what I call isomorphic mimicry in terms of a solution to our security challenges. We're going to grow our solution in Ekiti State. First, I will do stakeholder engagement on what I believe what the real security challenges in the state are. That's number one. And arising from that stakeholder engagement, then we'll begin to profile our homegrown solution to it. I'm going to support fully the creation of state police. In the restructuring agenda that is gaining currency now, I'm going to support creation of state police so that we can be in control. We will strengthen the judiciary, because when judgment against an evil work is not speedily executed, the heart of man is set in it to do evil. So we are going to ensure that we strengthen our judiciary and ensure that our criminals are not allowed to go unpunished. With respect to herdsmen crisis, please, whoever kills is a criminal. There is a place for murderer in the criminal code. So don't let us color them with any name. If they kill, we will deal with them as criminals and we'll get them charged to court as at when due. No time to waste on politicizing the security of our people. Apart from that, the security vote that governors spend on frivolities will be concentrated to strengthen the security architecture of the state. It is illegal for any governor to arrogate a portion of the resources of the state to himself as security vote. His hangover of military rule is illegal. We are going to stop it. We are going to devote what they arrogate to themselves to strengthening the security architecture of the state. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Temitope Adebayo of the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance, APDA. Now this, of course, the same question to you, Mr. Tunde Afe. What exactly will you do to tackle the security challenge that the country faces, especially as it affects Ekiti State? Herdsmen-farmers clashes, cultism, kidnapping, and all manner of security challenges that arise every day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It has always been said that an idle hand is the devil's workshop. One of the causes of some of these vices like armed robbery and all of that is the fact that a lot of our youths are not gainfully engaged. You look at Ekiti State and you find in excess of 50,000 young people who are jobless. Now, If they can't find jobs, if they can't be productively engaged, what do you find? They take to vices. One of the things that we have done as a party is to ensure that we create at least 100,000 jobs in the first year of our government. I believe that if that is done, a lot of our young people can be gainfully engaged, and then that will reduce criminality in society. And then when it comes to our security personnel, we're going to ensure that we motivate them. For example, if a policeman is pursuing an armed robber, is also looking at his life. There's no life insurance for them. There is no one that is going to take care of his family if anything happens. We are going to ensure that we have life insurance cover for every security personnel posted to Ekiti State. Therefore, if we have that, those security personnel can give their best. They can go all out to ensure that the entire state is secured. When it comes to herdsmen, farmers clashes, if the security personnel are motivated adequately, you will see that they will do their job well, and these things will come down. I also support fully the creation of state police. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tunde Afe, Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party there. All right, let me take this to Mr. Tosin Ajibare of Independent Democrats. Yes, both gentlemen have said they support state police and all that, as it will help in tackling the security challenge. But how would you approach it? This state, Ekiti State, already has a system that seems to be working as far as the herdsmen farmers clashes is concerned. Yeah. Do you plan to continue that system, or do you have something better?
Since the system is working, my plan is to actually build on the system to make it more efficient. I believe with our security agencies has a lot of work to do. And one of the things we'll be doing with them is that we'll be working with them as an agency of protection and not as an agency of oppression, which is what is mostly applicable with the country right now. As of now, I do not support the creation of state police because of the present level of politicians we have in Nigeria right now. We know that this thing, as good as it is, might actually become a tool towards negativity. But apart from that, one of the other things we're going to do is that because we believe in the security of the people, we will actually provide the security agencies with everything needed to actually help them carry out their work. And also, we will create a central emergency toll-free number, a central situation room, whereby in cases of emergency, security threats or issues, people can actually reach and they can actually get quick response. This is one of the things that has been missing. Most times, people see things that they could actually call the security agencies to come and actually check out before it actually goes wrong. But they start looking for who to reach and where to reach. And I believe that if we can actually set up this system, the central emergency system, I know it's going to help in a whole lot of ways. Then when we look at a city like Ekiti, being the state capital, and at other strategic places in the whole state, I believe it's high time we actually bring in the use of CCTV cameras at strategic locations in the state.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tosin Ajibare, Independent Democrats. At this point, let's quickly take a breather. I will definitely give Mr. Agbola Olani the opportunity to tell us exactly what he has to do as far as tackling security is concerned when we come back. All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Nigerians here in Ekiti State and of course all over the world, you're welcome back. This is the Ekiti 2018 debate, and of course 4 gentlemen have been telling us exactly what they have to offer the people of Ekiti State, from security, of course, to education, yes, and indeed health and jobs. Those other issues we're going to tackle as quickly as we can. Let me bring it to Mr. Agbola Olani of the Alliance for Democracy, as he tells us exactly what he plans to do as far as security is concerned, ensuring that the lives and properties of every Ekiti indigene or citizen, if you like, is protected. from herdsmen, farmers clashes to kidnapping and every other security challenge?
Thank you very much. It's very obvious that an idle hand is the devil's workshop. We will address, because we've been able to demystify what has actually been wrong with the security system. So we've broken it into two in the course of this preparation for this race. And the first one is the food security. We will sort that through food security. My party, we've earmarked 5,000 hectares in each senatorial district, and that alone will give us a lot of issues to solve in terms of security. And number one, that will provide over 100,000 employment on its own, and we will make sure that, yes, life becomes easy in the farmland. And we'll talk about farm settlement, we'll talk about other infrastructural development like school, like market, rural development and all others. When we do that, our youth will have been gainfully employed. And that is where it is when you are good, it is when you eat, that's when you can begin to think about protecting your property. And now personal experience has shown that the security apparatus are not being taken care of really. And so what we're going to do, we're not going to engage in the controversial state police. What we'll do is we'll engage in community policing. And basically what would they do? They are to gather intelligence, because intelligence is security. And from there, we will also use Israeli option in animal husbandry to sort out the problems of security. And what have they been able to do? They've been able to do cross-insemination into the animal husbandry and to provide employment. And this time around, we will use the security vote exactly as it has been provided to sort out the issue of herdsmen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agbola Olani of the Alliance for Democracy, AD. Let's quickly move on to the issue of health. Health, like they say, gentlemen, is wealth. Without health, everything you're talking about is totally meaningless. Infant mortality, maternal mortality, Nigeria unfortunately has one of the greatest burdens of maternal mortality in the world. So welcome back. Unfortunately, we have exceeded the time allotted for this debate, but let's start with Mr. Tosin Ajibare to give us his rebuttal as far as the issue of security in Ekiti State, the provision of security in Ekiti State is concerned. You have 1 minute to, yes, 1 minute. A rebuttal to any of the things that the gentlemen, your fellow contenders have said here on this floor.
Okay.
Yes.
On the issue of security agencies, I think the only thing I can add is the issue of that job creation. Like they've rightly said, an idle hand is a devil's workshop. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we are looking forward to, we said the fundamental problems in Ekiti is two: unemployment and poverty. You cannot solve one without solving the other. And this same unemployment has a whole lot to do with security issues. We are going to solve that by creating jobs. One. Then the second one I would like to put in is a working justice system. When our judicial system is faulty, you see, forgive me, I have to say this in my language. They said, like when the criminals are actually getting off easy, then it's a sign of encouragement to others. I think these 2 points are things I would like to actually add as a rejoinder.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tosin Ajibare of Independent Democrats there. This is for you, Mr. Agbola Olani of Alliance for Democracy. You have 1 more minute to add to what you have said, especially as it pertains to what your fellow contenders have said tonight for security.
Thank you very much. Criminality is criminality. There is no two ways about it. If you must deal with that, you must be fair. And one of the cardinal points that we will do is to enhance the level of judiciary in the state. And basically, let me quickly explain this. to show that S-men are criminals in their operation and nothing more. I was talking about the Israeli option. Israeli option is, what did they do? They had the lamb, as young as they are, being reared, and they went to Holland to take the sperm of their own breed there, bring it down here, and inseminated the animal, the ones here. The production of milk in Israel is 64 liters per day, while we have 2.5 here. So moving around does not really actually show that, yes, they are doing business.
All right,
they
thank you very
criminals.
much. Thank you very much, Mr. Agbola Olani. Now to you, Mr. Tunde Affair of the Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party. I've not heard much about ranching, but what do you have to say in 1 minute?
Well, thank you very much. When it comes to ranching, what we are going to do is to encourage our own people, Ekiti people, to go into ranching. The truth of the matter is that somebody from the north cannot come here to take what it's ours. That's the truth. So we are going to encourage our own people to go into ranching. So government is going to support the fact that any Ekiti person that is interested in going into animal production, particularly cow production and milk production, we are going to encourage them, and then we are going to encourage them to have ranches all over the state. And then in addition to security issues, we are going to ensure that we use technology massively to ensure that the state is adequately secure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tunde Affair, Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party. To you, of course, Mr. Temitope Adebayo of the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance, APDA. 1 more minute to add to what you have to say about security in Ekiti.
Well, like I mentioned the other time, I said I'm going to support state police. Community policing is very cardinal also to our security program. I do not want to subscribe to the generalization that only poor people involved in criminality. Even people that are comfortable get involved in criminality. And people get involved in criminality for different reasons. The Boko Haram that ravaged the northeast, those guys are not there because of unemployment alone. Indoctrination is part of it. So we will treat criminals like criminals, period. And that is what our government will do. Secondly, with respect to what Mr. Tunde Affair mentioned on insurance for the police, they already have insurance policy. What we will do is to create a serious crime squad and improve the premium on their insurance so that if anything happens to them, they get better pay. Their family get better.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Temitope Adebayo of the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance, APDA. Yes, we're done with the debates. You have heard it from for yourselves from the 4 contenders. They are seeking your votes come July 14. I believe that you were convinced enough to decide exactly which way to go. We do have another session, quickly to remind you, at 6 p.m. of course. But right now, let me quickly bring back the Executive Director, Enough is Enough, Yemi Adamolekun, to come and give gifts to the, okay, none of that for now. All right, I guess that's how we say thank you very much for joining us on this special Ekiti Debate 2018 right here in Ado-Ekiti, beamed live to you from TVC. My name is Ngozi. We will see you again at 6 for the next session of Ekiti Debates 2018.